so much. I tell you what, I'm excited about the size of this crowd. When I came in, Ronnie said, "Richard, thank you for being here," and said, "I appreciate the way you've been voting. I gave you a hard time during your campaign," and I said, "Well, keep giving me a hard time. If you don't like what I'm doing, give me a hard time, because I work for every one of you. You're the boss, and you employ me. And the next 2 years, I'm going to represent you the best I can, and I'm going to always vote my conscience and do what I think is right." I told you when I was campaigning that you may not always agree with me, but you're always going to know where I stand. And so let me just start out by making real clear where I stand. I will not support any new gun law proposed in Congress, period. Woo! There's 2 reasons. One is on January 3rd, I swore an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. The oath wasn't to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution when it's convenient, right? It wasn't to do that when it's easy or when it serves my purpose. It's to defend the Constitution, period. And we have a right under the Second Amendment to keep and bear arms. And I'm just not going to support anything that infringes on that. But the second reason I'm not going to support any of these proposals I've seen from Senator Feinstein or anybody else is because it's bad public policy. Why would you pass laws you know don't work? I mean, never mind the fact that it's a violation of our rights, but why have public policy that doesn't work? We know for a fact that these proposals don't work. You look at, that's right. But you look at the assault weapons ban last time. I heard someone talking on TV once about how they put together the assault weapons ban legislation last time. They literally went through magazines and looked at pictures and circled pictures of guns they thought looked scary. I'm not making that up. That's how they chose what an assault weapon was. During the assault weapons period when it was in place, we had 14 school shootings, including Columbine. And since the assault weapons ban went out in 2004, we've seen a decline in gun violence. In fact, today we're at a 40-year low in gun violence and violent crime. There's absolutely no correlation between banning scary guns and gun violence. If you look at this piece of paper, I wrote a letter to the president. We got the other freshmen from North Carolina to sign it. I'm still waiting for a reply.
We are too. How long can you wait?
For a little while. Too much volume here. All right. Does everybody hear me still? And what I said in the letter, and what I've said vocally on CNN with Candy Crawley, and I've said on national radio, and I've said over and over to the media, is that we all watched in horror what happened in Newtown. My wife, who I forgot to introduce when I started, Renee, my beautiful wife, say hello to everybody. I can still remember we stopped what we were doing. We stopped everything we were doing that day and watched TV and just were sick on our stomach trying to imagine the horror of those parents going through and how any human being could do that to those babies. It's horrible, horrible. And I understand why there are some people who don't know better might think it's reasonable to ban scary guns, or why can't we just limit the number of bullets that person has, or why can't we do something to stop this violence? And I even agree with what President Obama said right after the aftermath when he said we need to have a national dialogue to look at the causes of this violence. We need to make sure it never happens again. Amen. But we're still waiting for that national dialogue. Because if we want to truly stop this violence, we've got to look at what the causes are. And Ronnie, I appreciate the way you started this meeting, because that has a big clue to what part of our problem is. These kids who took these guns and shot other kids are broken human beings. They're hurting. They don't realize they're children of God. They don't realize how loved they are. That's a big part of it. But there's also the issue of mental health and how we're dealing with mental health in our society. We lump together people with developmental disabilities, people with alcoholism, people with schizophrenia. We lump them all together and call it mental health. And they're all very different, and they all need very different prescriptions. That's a big problem. You look at the state, Thank goodness we got people like Larry Pittman and Carl Ford representing us in Raleigh. But the last administration decided we were going to decentralize mental health. We're going to close down these institutional hospitals and we're going to have community mental health. So they closed them down. They forgot to build the infrastructure in the community to take care of the people. So we have folks that don't have anywhere to go. They're going to homeless shelters and emergency rooms. We need to look at this. We need to look at the fact that almost every one of these shooters, maybe all of them, were taking behavioral drugs. No one's looked at the link and the causality of that. We need to be looking at these issues. Sorry, I'm getting hoarse. I had 9 town hall meetings with farmers in the last 3 days, and I've been talking like a traveling district. But we really need to take a serious look at this. We need to have a national dialogue to talk about these things. Let's talk about the kind of intervention programs we've got for students who are so lonely, that become so isolated. We need to do a better job of identifying these young people and trying to have some kind of intervention. These are the causes of this violence. It's not the weapon. There's not one proposal Dianne Feinstein has put forward that would have stopped the shooting. You know, and the assault weapons ban last time, they listed these characteristics that a scary weapon has that makes it an assault weapon. And they said it has to have 2 of these characteristics to be banned. Well, now her new law says it's got to have 1 of these.
I wish those people would have had an assault weapon to defend her and those kids.
Absolutely. But thank goodness Dianne Feinstein is going to stop the onslaught of crimes committed with a bayonet. Because that's one of the characteristics. If a rifle has a bayonet, it's an assault weapon. Man.
Somebody black powder muzzleloader is an assault weapon.
Absolutely. So I'm not going to belabor the point too much more, but the point is we do need to stop this violence. We do need to look at what's really causing this violence. And unfortunately, there are opportunistic politicians who have an agenda to ban guns who are taking advantage of this situation and are preventing that dialogue. And so I'm going to continue to push for that dialogue. And I'm going to continue to fight against this. And one of the ways I can do that is to be very vocal. You know, I was sworn in on the 3rd, that was a Thursday. On Sunday, I was on CNN talking about the Second Amendment. And you know how I knew I did a pretty good job? Well, my mother, who's in the back, said I did. But also, y'all ever heard of Jon Stewart? He took the clip of me talking about our right to keep and bear arms, put it on the Daily Show, and made fun of me for about 3 minutes. It was awesome. Congressman, 5 days of Jon Stewart made fun of me. I mean, I'm on the right track. But I'm going to continue to be very vocal because there's a lot of members of Congress and people in the Senate who've been very cautious about this. You've seen their comments in the media. You know, we need balance. We need to take a look.
They're cowards.
And so what I'm trying to do is be bold and be clear and help them see the way. And show them that it's okay, that you can get out here and talk about our rights and it'll be okay. And you've got good reporters like the folks here from the Independent Tribune who will write what you said and people will read it and the sun will come up the next day. And so I'm encouraging my colleagues, and that's why we did this letter to the president. You know, we just wanted to lay down a marker and show them where we stand. And so all the freshman members from North Carolina, we signed the letter. Don't expect a response. But we need to continue to do this. And I tell you what's really important. All of you being here tonight is critical. This is such a tremendous statement that we are going to stand, we the people are going to stand for the Constitution. But don't stop here. Don't make this be the end of your involvement. Get involved with groups like Grassroots North Carolina and We the People, and come to the Republican Party. Go to these rallies when people are rallying for the Second Amendment, because when they see you there standing up for your rights and the media reports how many people are there, it sends a statement. And it sends a statement to other politicians. Okay, and it gives them the courage to stand for what they know they need to stand for. And so we can help them. And we don't need to deride them, we just need to encourage them. And we need to let them know that we're standing with them if they will stand with us. And I think it's important. And so stay involved, get involved. Contact my office, contact your senators. We need to know where they stand on this. We need to absolutely know where they stand, and they need to know where you stand. So write letters. I'm happy for you to write me too. I've written a letter to respond to people who write on this issue, and someone put it on Facebook, and said, I hope he really means what's said here. I'm sure some staffer wrote it, and he probably sends this form letter to everybody. So I replied, because I do most of my Facebook myself, and I said, well, that letter is the letter I send to everyone, that my staff sends to everyone who writes me on the Second Amendment, but I wrote that letter. I mean everything that was in it. So I look forward to hearing from you. And not just when you agree with me, I want to hear from you when you disagree, because I'm always open to a better argument. And you're always going to know where I stand, and so let's have a dialogue about it. I welcome you to be in touch with me. I've been in office less than a month, and I've already done 2 tours of the district. I've done an event in every county twice. I met with the Chamber of Commerce and business leaders once, and I met with the agriculture community this week, and I'm going to continue to do that. We're going to have town hall meetings, and we'll have office hours, because if I'm not accessible, if I'm not looking you in the eye and telling you where I stand, and looking you in the eye and hearing you tell me what concerns you, then I can't represent you. And so I'm going to do my best to be involved, and I just ask you to be engaged with me. And I'm going to just do the best I can. And as long as my wife says I'm doing a good job and my mom says I'm doing a good job, I'm going to keep doing a good job. But I really can't tell you how appreciative I am of you showing up tonight, of Ronnie putting this together. We got a real fight on our hands. And thank you for the presentation spelling out exactly what's at stake. They're not going to stop here. They're coming after us on the gun issue. They're going to come after us. They've already gotten the healthcare issue to the point where we're going to have to fight tooth and nail to pull it back. But I'm not going to stop until we do. But they're going to continue to try and chip away at our rights to consolidate power. You put it so well. It's about power. And we've got to fight to keep that power, the power that God granted us. And so keep fighting, and I'll keep fighting with you. Thank you so much.